Picture this: a major highway, completely clogged by invisible debris, cars slowing down, traffic backing up, everything grinding to a halt. You can't see what's blocking the road, but you feel it. Your legs feel it. That's exactly what's happening inside your blood vessels right now if you're over 60 and still eating the same fruits you did in your 40 seconds. If you turn this off halfway, you may miss the one habit that silently steals 10 years of strength from your legs. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get the best health advice from us. I want to know if you're following along with this video. If you find this content helpful, type the number 1 inch. The comments? If not, type 0. Here's what most Americans over 60 believe. Fruit is always good for you. Natural sugar, vitamins, fiber. What could possibly go wrong? The truth? That belief is about 50% wrong once your body crosses the 60-year threshold. Your body after 60 is not the same engine it was at 40. It doesn't process sugar the same way. It doesn't handle acid the same way. And certain fruits that used to fuel you, they now quietly drain you. This isn't about fear. This is about something I call nutritional mismatch. Your aging body needs less sugar, not more. It needs less acid, not a daily dose of citrus. But nobody tells you this. Not your doctor during your annual checkup. Not the grocery store aisle. So you keep eating bananas for potassium, oranges for vitamin C, grapes for a quick snack. And meanwhile, your circulation slows down. Your joints ache a little more. And your legs feel weaker climbing stairs. Watch till the end. I'll show you how to fix this in one grocery trip. And I'll give you a 7-day reset plan that can bring back the strength you thought was gone for good. Let me explain what's really happening inside your body after 60. This isn't about getting old. This is about chemistry. Your circulation slows down by 20 to 25% compared to your younger years. That's not a guess. That's measurable. Your heart still beats. Your blood still flows. But the speed, the efficiency, the delivery system, it's not the same. Your body also processes fructose differently now. Fructose is the sugar in fruit. When you were younger, your liver handled it easily, but after treads, that same liver is working overtime just to keep up with normal metabolism. Add a high-sugar fruit to the mix, and it struggles. Then there's your kidneys. They filter acid from your system, but with age, that filtering power declines. So when you eat acidic fruits daily, those acids linger longer in your bloodstream, irritating your joints, inflaming your tissues. A Harvard study from 2024 called the Metabolic Aging Study confirmed this. Older adults who consumed high amounts of fructose and citric acid showed measurably slower circulation and higher inflammatory markers. Think of your blood like a delivery truck. When you're younger, it speeds through town, dropping off oxygen and nutrients to every muscle, every joint. But after treads, that truck slows down. Now imagine loading it with sugar. That's like adding weight to an already slow vehicle. Imagine pouring acid on the road. That's corrosion. The truck can't move as freely anymore. It's not your age. It's your chemistry. And once you understand that, you can fix it. So which fruits are the problem? Let me be specific. There are 3 categories of fruits that work against your body after 60, not because they're bad in general, but because your system can't handle them the way it used to. First, the high sugar group: bananas, mangoes, watermelon. These fruits spike your blood sugar fast. That triggers an insulin surge. Insulin forces sugar into your cells. But it also constricts your blood vessels temporarily. Less blood flow means less oxygen to your legs. Over time, that leads to muscle fatigue, weakness, and that heavy feeling when you stand up. Second, the high acid group: oranges, Pineapples. Green apples. These are packed with citric acid and malic acid. In a younger body, no problem. But after treads, that acid irritates joint linings, triggers low-grade inflammation, and makes conditions like arthritis worse. Third, the hidden fructose group, grapes and watermelon again, small, sweet, seemingly harmless, but they're sugar-dense. Fructose converts into uric acid in your liver. Uric acid causes gout-like pain in your knees, toes, and ankles. Here's the image I want you to remember. Eating these fruits daily is like pouring syrup through a straw every single day. At first, the straw works fine, but over time, the syrup builds up. The straw clogs, flow slows down. Eventually, it stops working altogether. That's your circulation after years of the wrong fruit choices. Now, I want you to do something. After this video, check your fridge. Check your fruit bowl. Which of these fruits do you eat daily? Write it down, because in a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what to replace them with. Let me tell you about Evelyn Carter. She's 71 years old, lives in Ohio, came into my office last year with one main complaint. Her legs felt like dead weight. She couldn't climb stairs without holding the railing. She'd stand up from her chair and need a moment before she could walk. She thought it was just age, just arthritis, just life after health years. I asked her about her diet. She ate healthy. She said, oatmeal for breakfast with a banana, a glass of orange juice every morning, grapes as a snack, all fruit, all natural. I told her, Evelyn, we're going to try something. For 3 weeks, I want you to replace 3 fruits. No bananas, no orange juice, no grapes. Instead, I want you to eat blueberries, half an avocado, and tart cherries. She looked at me like I was crazy, but she trusted me, so she did it. 3 weeks later, she came back. She walked into my office without hesitation. No wobble. No pose. She told me she'd walked around her neighborhood twice that week without stopping. Her knie stidden ek. Her legs felt lighter. We ran blood work. Her inflammatory markers had dropped. Her circulation tests showed measurable improvement. This wasn't magic. This wasn't a miracle drug. This was a nutrition reset. Her body finally got what it needed. Instead of what was slowly breaking it down, Evelyn is still active today. She gardens, she walks daily, and she tells everyone she knows about those 3 fruit swaps. Now let me explain the science behind why this works. When you eat a high-sugar fruit like a banana, your blood sugar spikes. That spike triggers your pancreas to release insulin. Insulin's job is to push that sugar into your cells for energy. But here's the part most people don't know. Insulin also causes your blood vessels to constrict temporarily. Constricted blood vessels mean less blood flow. Less blood flow to your legs means less oxygen, less nutrients, and over time, weaker muscles. That's why your legs feel heavy. That's why stairs feel impossible. Now let's talk about acid. Citric acid from oranges and pineapples doesn't just stay in your stomach. It enters your bloodstream. In a healthy young body, your kidneys filter it out quickly. But after treads, your kidneys slow down. That acid lingers. It irritates the lining of your joints. It triggers inflammation. And chronic inflammation is the root cause of arthritis pain. Then there's fructose. Your liver converts fructose into uric acid as a byproduct. Uric acid crystals can deposit in your joints, especially in your knees, toes, and ankles. This causes sharp pain, stiffness, and swelling. Doctors call it gout when it's severe. But even mild cases make movement painful. Here's an image to remember. Imagine your blood vessels as garden hoses. Acid corrodes the hose. sugarklogsit. Fructose leaves behind, residue that hardens over time. Your body is trying to work with what you give it. But if you keep giving it the wrong fuel, it can't perform. It's that simple. Let's break down the first group. The sweet traps. These are bananas, mangoes, and watermelon. Start with bananas. Yes. They have potassium. Yes. They're convenient. But a single medium banana contains about 14 grams of sugar, and most of that is fructose. After 60, your body doesn't handle that load well. The insulin spike from one banana can leave your legs feeling heavier within an hour. You might not notice it immediately, but over weeks and months, it adds up. Your muscles don't get the sustained energy they need. They get a sugar crash instead. Now mangoes, I call these nature's candy, because that's exactly what they are. 1 cup of mango has over 20 grams of sugar. For someone over 60, that's equivalent to eating a candy bar. The difference is, you think you're being healthy, but your joints don't see it that way. That much sugar triggers inflammation in your joint tissues if you already have arthritis. Mango makes it worse. Watermelon is the tricky one. People think it's hydrating. It's mostly water, right? But it's also loaded with sugar. And because it's so easy to eat in large amounts, you end up consuming more sugar than you realize. 2 cups of watermelon equals about 18 grams of sugar. That's a significant load for your bloodstream, especially if you're eating it as a snack on top of other meals. Here's the warning. These 3 fruits feel light. They taste fresh, but they hit your bloodstream like soda. You don't have to quit sweetness entirely. You just have to choose smarter. Later in this video, I'll show you which fruits give you natural sweetness without the blood sugar crash or the inflammation. But first, let's talk about the second group. The second group is the acid triggers. These are pineapple, oranges, and green apples. Let's start with pineapple. It's delicious. It has enzymes that help digestion, but it's also one of the most acidic fruits you can eat. That acid doesn't just affect your stomach. It enters your bloodstream and irritates the lining of your joints. Over time, it wears down the cushioning between your bones. Think of acid like rust on a door hinge. At first, the hinge still works, but after months and years of exposure, it starts to squeak. Then it stiffens. Then it barely moves. That's what's happening inside your knees and hips when you eat pineapple daily. Oranges are another problem. People drink orange juice every morning thinking it's healthy. But 1 glass of orange juice contains the juice of 4 to 5 oranges. That's a concentrated dose of citric acid hitting your system all at once. Your kidneys try to filter it out, but they can't keep up. The acid lingers. It inflames your tissues. And if you already have joint pain, it makes it worse. Green apples are less obvious, but just as damaging. They're tart because they're acidic. That tartness you taste? That's malic acid. It's the same acid that causes muscle soreness after intense exercise. Eating green apples regularly means you're constantly exposing your muscles and joints to that acid load. Here's how to reduce acid damage if you still want some citrus in your diet. Drink plenty of water to help flush the acid out. Add more green leafy vegetables to your meals, because they alkalize your system, and never eat acidic fruits on an empty stomach. Always eat them after a main meal, so the acid is diluted. If you wake up stiff every morning, recheck your citrus habits. Now let's talk about grapes. They seem harmless. They're small. They're sweet. You can eat a handful without thinking twice. But here's the problem. Grapes are sugar-dense. A single cup of grapes contains about 23 grams of sugar. Most of that is fructose. And remember what I said earlier. Fructose converts into uric acid in your liver. Uric acid doesn't just disappear. It circulates in your bloodstream. When levels get too high, it crystallizes and deposits in your joints. That causes sharp, stabbing pain. especially in your big toe, your knees, and your ankles. Doctors call this gout when it's severe, but even mild cases cause stiffness and discomfort. The tricky part about grapes is that they don't feel like a problem. You're not eating a whole mango. You're just snacking on a few grapes. But those few grapes add up quickly. Before you know it, you've eaten 2 cups while watching TV. That's 46 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of soda. Here's the swap. Replace grapes with berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. 1 cup of blueberries has only 15 grams of sugar, and it's packed with antioxidants that actually reduce inflammation. Same sweetness. Better results. Small fruits, big damage. But easy fix. Just make the swap, and your joints will feel the difference within days. So what should you eat instead? Let me give you 3 groups of fruits that actually work with your aging body, not against it. First group, circulation boosters. These are blueberries and pears. Blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, which are compounds that reduce inflammation in your blood vessels. They help your blood flow more smoothly. 1 cup of blueberries a day can measurably improve circulation in older adults. Pears are high in fiber and low in sugar compared to other fruits. They don't cause insulin spikes. They keep your blood sugar stable, which keeps your energy steady throughout the day. Second group, joint protectors. These are tart cherries and avocados. Tart cherries contain natural compounds that reduce uric acid levels in your blood. If you have joint pain or gout, tart cherries are one of the best natural remedies you can use. Studies show that drinking tart cherry juice daily reduces inflammation and pain in people with arthritis. Avocados are technically a fruit, and they're loaded with healthy fats that lubricate your joints from the inside. Half an avocado with breakfast gives your body the building blocks it needs to repair joint tissue. Third group, digestive helpers. This is papaya. Papaya contains an enzyme called papain, which helps your body break down protein and absorb nutrients more efficiently. After 60, digestion slows down. Papaya helps keep things moving smoothly without irritating your gut. Here's how to use these fruits. Eat half an avocado with breakfast. Add 1 cup of blueberries to your oatmeal or yogurt. Drink a small glass of tart cherry juice before bed. Have a few slices of papaya after lunch to aid digestion. Try one swap today. Replace one of the harmful fruits I mentioned earlier with one of these healing alternatives. Your legs will thank you. Your joints will thank you. And your energy will come back faster than you think. Now let me give you a simple 7-day plan to reset your body and bring back strength to your legs. Follow this step by step. Day 1. Stop drinking fruit juice. Replace it with plain filtered water or herbal tea. Fruit juice is concentrated sugar without the fiber. It spikes your blood sugar faster than whole fruit. Cut it out completely. Day 2. Change your breakfast. If you usually eat a banana, replace it with half a cup of blueberries. If you have orange juice, replace it with water and add a squeeze of lemon for flavor. Pair your new breakfast with oats or eggs for stable energy. Day 3. Add 30 minutes of walking. Your circulation improves when you move. Walk around your neighborhood, your backyard, or even inside your house. Movement helps your blood deliver oxygen to your legs. Day 4. Add more leafy greens to your meals. Spinach, kale, arugula. These vegetables alkalize your body and counteract the effects of any lingering acid. Aim for at least 1 large serving per day. Day 5. Eat half an avocado every morning. Slice it, mash it, or add it to your eggs. The healthy fats reduce inflammation and support joint health. Day 6. Stop eating fruit after 8 p.m. Late-night fruit spikes your blood sugar right before bed, which disrupts your sleep and slows overnight repair. Keep fruit to daytime hours only. Day 7. Check in with your body. How do your legs feel? Can you climb stairs easier? Do your knees ache less? Has your sleep improved? Write it down. 1 week can restart your body's repair system. Your body can still heal. No matter your age, you just have to give it the right tools. I want to talk about mindset for a moment, because this is where a lot of people get stuck. You're not giving up fruit. You're not being punished. You're not restricting yourself. You're learning how to eat fruit wisely. You're learning how to match your food choices with the way your body actually works now, not the way it worked 20 years ago. This isn't about taking things away. This is about adding things in. Add blueberries. Add avocado. Add tart cherries. Add movement. Add water. Add greens. When you eat right for your body's current chemistry, your body responds. It thanks you with energy instead of fatigue. It thanks you with strength instead of weakness. It thanks you with comfort instead of pain. You've spent decades taking care of other people. Your kids, your spouse, your parents, your job. Now it's time to take care of yourself. And the beautiful part? It doesn't take months to see results. Evelyn felt better in 3 weeks. Some of my patients feel the difference in 3 days. Your body wants to heal. It's designed to heal. You just have to stop feeding it the things that slow down that process. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Share this video with someone you love who's over 60, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, because chances are they're eating the same fruits that are quietly stealing their strength. Let me leave you with this. Your legs carry your freedom, your independence, your life story. They've carried you through decades of work, of dancing, of walking your kids to school, of climbing mountains, of standing at kitchen counters, making meals for the people you love. They've been with you through every chapter of your life. And now, after 60, they need your help. They need you to make better choices. Not perfect choices, just better ones. Better circulation means better days. Stronger legs mean more independence. L'Espagne means more joy. You don't have to accept that aging means weakness. You don't have to accept that stairs are your enemy now. You don't have to live with constant aches and fatigue. Take care of your legs. They've carried you this far. Let them carry you through the years ahead. Start with one swap today. One fruit, one meal, one walk. That's all it takes to begin. If you're ready to start your 7-day reset today, comment ready below. I read every comment, and I want to hear from you. And subscribe to this channel, because in the next video, I'm going to share 5 supplements that rebuild senior strength naturally. No prescriptions, no side effects, just real science and real results. Your best years aren't behind you. They're right in front of you. You just have to choose them. Thank you for watching. Now go take care of those legs.